think you've seen every classic Christmas cartoon, but trust me, you haven't seen these. Back in the 30s, 40s, and 70s, studios made holiday shorts so strange, so emotional, and so forgotten that most people today have no idea they ever existed. We're talking creepy snowmen, sad toy soldiers, Santa wandering into shanty towns, and a Christmas circus starring woodland animals. Let's unwrap 30 strangest Christmas holiday cartoons you've probably never heard of. Some of these are strange, some are unsettling, and a few will make you wonder how they were ever shown to kids. But before anything else, we need to talk about the Christmas special, so dark and disturbing that adults questioned why it was shown to children at all. Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, 1971.
Christmas, Uncle. God save you. Humbug.
This version of A Christmas Carol is only about half an hour long, but it feels more like a ghost story than a cozy Christmas tale. The layouts look like old Victorian engravings come to life, the spirits are genuinely disturbing, and Scrooge's journey feels harsher and more intense than most family versions. Kids who saw it on television just remembered the scary ghosts. Adults watching now notice the bold choices, long silent moments, harsh shadows, and a Marley's ghost that looks like it wandered in from a horror film. It is faithful to Dickens, but in a way that leans into fear and guilt rather than comfort. And if you think this one is chilling, the next holiday tale freezes you in a different way through a fairy tale made of snow and sacrifice.
Is your master at home?
Yes, sir. He's in the dining room along with mistress.
Thanks.
The Snow Queen, 1957.
Come on, look. Go. There, I got it.
On the surface, the Snow Queen looks like a gentle fairy tale adventure.
A queen puddle. Go, splitters of ice.
But sit with it, and it feels strangely heavy. A girl crosses frozen landscapes, meets odd characters, and faces real danger just to rescue a friend, whose heart has literally turned to ice. Kids see magic sleighs, talking animals, and a beautiful snow palace. Adults notice something deeper, the loneliness of the queen, the cold, serious tone, and how much pain sits beneath the pretty colors. In the English dub versions, a Christmas-style introduction tries to package it as cozy winter viewing, but the story itself is more about endurance and loss than festive cheer. It is beautiful, yes.
Flowers. Much nicer. Much. Oh, chunks of ice.
But it leaves a little frost on your feelings. And if you think that kind of emotional cold is intense, the next cartoon looks bright and cheerful while turning Christmas into all-out living room warfare. Santa's Surprise, 1947.
Here when Christmas comes, I pack my sled with dogs.
Now here's a holiday short almost nobody remembers, and the few who do still debate what they watched. Santa's Surprise follows a group of kids sneaking into Santa's sleigh, riding back to the North Pole, and then deciding to clean his house while he's asleep. Sounds cute until you actually watch it. The kids appear out of nowhere, the North Pole looks oddly empty, and Santa barely reacts when he wakes up to strangers inside his home. The animation is cheerful, but the energy is strange like a Christmas dream where the logic slips just a little. And the mix of accents, costumes, and jokes would definitely never appear today. Kids in the 40s thought it was fun, adults today rewatch it and think, what exactly was going on here? But the next cartoon gets even weirder because it mixes romance, war, and Christmas all at once. Jack Frost, 1934. If you've never seen this one, get ready. Jack Frost from 1934 is one of the strangest holiday cartoons ever made. Instead of cozy winter magic, the whole thing feels like a chilly warning. A lonely scarecrow comes to life and wants to enjoy the world, but winter doesn't arrive gently, it attacks. Jack Frost himself shows up with a smile that looks more threatening than friendly, and the cold feels less like Christmas and more like a punishment. Kids back then probably didn't understand why the wolves were circling or why everything looked gray and unsettling, but as adults, you feel it. This is a winter story with sharp edges. The ending isn't warm, it's weirdly sad, almost haunting. And if you think this cartoon feels off, the next one is even stranger, and it tries to be sweet. The Brave Tin Soldier, 1934. Based loosely on Hans Christian Andersen's tale, this 1934 version turns Christmas into a full-blown melodrama. A toy soldier falls in love with a ballerina, but instead of a sweet holiday romance, the story throws them into danger, fire, jealousy, and a villain who looks like he escaped a Halloween short. The colors are beautiful, but the tone is dark. As kids, viewers might have focused on the action and music. As adults, you notice how intense it is, a love story wrapped inside a Christmas setting where the toys seem more emotional than the humans. The ending circles back to that bittersweet, early Disney-style tragedy that leaves you thinking instead of smiling. And if that wasn't unexpected enough, the next cartoon takes a beloved Christmas poem and turns it into something far stranger. The Night Before Christmas, 1933. This cartoon says it's based on the famous poem, but don't expect a calm, cozy bedtime tale. The 1933 version is a whirlwind of movement, noise, and toys, coming alive in a way that feels more chaotic than magical. Santa bounces around like a wind-up doll, the reindeer move in stiff, puppet-like motions, and the toys, well, some look cute, while others look like they crawled out of a fever dream. Kids in the 30s probably loved the excitement. Watching it today, the whole pace feels like someone hit the fast-forward button. Tiny details jump out strange toy faces, odd shadows, weird sound effects, and suddenly, this classic doesn't feel so classic anymore. And if you thought this one moved fast, the next cartoon takes Christmas and turns it into a full-on survival mission. Christmas Comes But Once a Year, 1936. This one starts sweet, a group of orphans waking up on Christmas morning, then immediately hits you with heartbreak. Their toys fall apart, their gifts break instantly, and the whole scene feels painfully real. But then Professor Grampy shows up and saves the day using pure cartoon logic. Household junk turned into brand new toys through wild inventions and Christmas magic. Kids saw fun and hope. Adults looking back noticed something different. The mix of sadness, poverty, and frantic creativity makes this one feel unusual for a happy holiday short. It's cheerful, yes, but there's an emotional edge you don't expect from a 1930s cartoon. And speaking of emotions, the next cartoon is cheerful on the surface, but the characters inside it, not so much. The Three Little Dwarfs, 1951. Not many people today even know this one exists, and that's part of its charm. The Three Little Dwarfs feels like someone mixed early Disney with a strange holiday fairy tale and then added jokes that come out of nowhere. The dwarfs try to help Santa, but everything they touch gets worse. It's slapstick, it's chaotic, and sometimes it's just confusing. The animation jumps between cute and oddly stiff, and the humor feels like it was invented 5 minutes before filming. But that's what makes it memorable. Nothing fits together perfectly, and the ending feels almost rushed, like they ran out of frames. But if you think this one is forgotten, the next holiday cartoon comes from a beloved family brand, and most people don't even know it existed.
I'm Joe.
The Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree, 1979.
Yes. Buy our tree down the road from Grizzly Gus.
Before their books and TV specials became household staples in the 80s, the Berenstain Bears released this charming but surprisingly strange Christmas special in 1979. Papa Bear tries to cut down the perfect Christmas tree, only to discover every tree in the forest already belongs to wildlife trying to survive the winter. Kids love the cozy colors and gentle music, but adults today notice how unusual it is. A Christmas story where the lesson is basically, leave nature alone. It's sweet, slow, and warm, but also surprisingly serious. Still, it's one of those lost specials almost no one mentions anymore. And if you think a forgotten Berenstain Bears cartoon is rare, the next one takes us back to 1932, when Santa's workshop looked very different.
I'm sure he will have the right tree for us.
Snow?
Santa's Workshop, 1932. This one looks cute at first. Santa checking his list, elves hammering toys, reindeer marching in line. But watch closely, and you'll see why it lands on a strangest list. The elves act like wind-up dolls, the pacing jumps wildly, and some of the toys they build, let's just say they wouldn't appear in a modern cartoon. The whole workshop has an uncanny, mechanical feel, like everything is alive, but not exactly human. As kids, the bright colors and dancing tools were magical. As adults, the exaggerated expressions and constant motion feel a little eerie. It's classic Disney, but with a strange, early animation edge. And if you think this one feels emotional, the next cartoon is one of the saddest Christmas shorts ever created. The Little Match Girl, 1937. If you've ever wondered what the saddest Christmas cartoon in history looks like, this is it. The Little Match Girl isn't cheerful, it isn't magical, it's heartbreaking. A young girl wandering the snowy streets, striking matches just to feel a little warmth, imagining holiday happiness she'll never have. As kids, many viewers didn't fully grasp what they were watching. As adults, the meaning hits hard. This was a holiday short built entirely around tragedy. The animation is beautiful, soft, almost dreamlike. But the story? It lingers. It reminds you how early cartoons weren't afraid to be emotional, even dark. And if you think this one is intense, the next cartoon hides its darkness behind cheerful music and bright colors. Play Safe, 1936. Play Safe isn't exactly a Christmas cartoon, but it aired during holiday seasons and terrified kids for decades. It starts with cheerful winter fun, then suddenly drops into a surreal nightmare where trains come alive, shadows grow teeth, and danger feels everywhere. It was designed as a safety lesson, but the lessons are delivered in some of the scariest imagery 1930s animation ever created. Kids remembered the wild colors and shifting shapes. Adults watching it today see something else, a warning film that accidentally turned into psychological horror. It's holiday themed only by setting, but unforgettable by tone. And speaking of accidentally scary, the next Christmas cartoon manages to be adorable and eerie at the same time. Frosty the Snowman, 1951. Frosty the Snowman. Long before the famous Rankin Bass version, there was a 1951 animated short that almost nobody remembers. This Frosty isn't the jolly, friendly snowman we grew up with. He looks more like a giant white balloon with a painted face. The animation is rubbery, the movements float strangely, and the tone feels more like a winter carnival than a Christmas celebration. Kids in the 50s were enchanted by the simplicity, but adults watching it now notice how odd the pacing is. Frosty doesn't talk, barely reacts, and drifts through snowy scenes like a cheerful ghost. It's charming, but undeniably strange. But if you think early Christmas cartoons were all gentle and happy, the next one brings pure surrealism wrapped in sunshine. The Sunshine Makers, 1935. You've probably never seen anything like The Sunshine Makers, a bright, colorful cartoon where tiny sunshine creatures battle gloomy, grumpy shadow beings by blasting them with bottled happiness. Yes, literal bottles of sunshine. The whole short feels like watching optimism fight depression in the middle of a fantasy forest. Kids love the goofy characters and bouncing animation. Adults watching now see something deeper, an odd metaphor, a strange mood war, and a tone that shifts between cheerful and unsettling. The pacing is wild, the designs are bizarre, and the final battle looks like a neon dream. And if you thought this was surreal, the next cartoon takes the idea of childhood wonder and turns it into a living, breathing dream world. Somewhere in Dreamland, 1936. Somewhere in Dreamland tonight. This one is pure 1930s magic, soft colors, sweet music, and a dream sequence that feels like it floated straight out of a Christmas storybook. Two poor children drift into a world made of candy, snow, and endless gifts. But beneath the sweetness is a quiet sadness. Their real lives are cold and hungry. Kids adored the fantasy. Adults watching today catch the emotional weight underneath. The dreamland is beautiful, but the contrast makes it haunting. The animation is some of the best of the era, but the story quietly tugs at your heart in ways you don't expect from a holiday short. And from Sweet Dreams, the next cartoon takes us straight to a strange, lonely shack where Santa's music comes from the unlikeliest place. The Shanty, where Santa Claus lives, 1933.
I'm turning them to joys in the shanty.
This one is pure Depression-era strangeness wrapped in Christmas cheer. It begins with a lonely orphan wandering the snow until Santa scoops him up and brings him to a tiny shanty bursting with singing toys, dancing laundry, and decorations that seem alive. On the surface, it's cute, but underneath, it feels oddly gloomy. The animation shifts between bright colors and dark shadows you don't expect in a holiday short. Kids back then loved the sudden burst of warmth. Adults today notice how quickly the tone switches from heartbreaking to chaotic to joyful, all in just a few minutes. There's a raw, emotional quality that only 1930s animation captures. And if you think this was bizarre, the next cartoon features one of the most unsettling villains ever put in a Christmas short. The Pincushion Man, 1935. Also known as Balloon Land, this cartoon isn't technically a Christmas short, but it was shown during holiday blocks for years. And once you've seen it, you never forget it. A kingdom made of balloons is terrorized by the Pincushion Man, a sharp, sneaky villain who pops everything in sight. Kids were fascinated, but terrified. Adults today wonder how something this creepy ever aired for children. The Pincushion Man laughs, dances, and destroys entire towns with one tiny poke. The whole short feels like a parade turning into a nightmare. The colors are beautiful, but the tension is real, and the villain remains one of animation's strangest creations. But if you think this was intense, the next cartoon takes Christmas into the forest with a trio of bears no one talks about anymore. Santa and the Three Bears, 1970.
We're not worth a darn without a good 4 months sleep.
Ah, the first snowfall of the winter.
This forgotten gem aired in theaters and later during holiday TV blocks, and it's surprisingly gentle. A mother bear tries to keep her cubs hibernating through Christmas, but they're determined to stay awake long enough to meet Santa. The story feels like a warm bedtime tale, slow and cozy, with soft colors and calm pacing. Kids love the sweet cubs and the cozy woodland world. Adults watching today notice how different it is from typical holiday cartoons. No loud songs, no manic slapstick, no chaotic animation. It's peaceful, almost meditative, but that quietness is exactly why it disappeared from TV schedules over time. And if this one is soft and sleepy, the next holiday short takes us back to the 1950s with a visitor no one expects.
Say, do you believe in Santa Claus?
The Christmas Visitor, 1959.
And 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old quick, I knew in a moment he must be Saint Nick.
Here's a short, almost no one remembers a gentle story about a lonely man who gets an unexpected Christmas guest. The style is very 1950s. Muted colors, slow pacing, and warm narration. Not much happens, but that's part of the charm. It feels like something you'd see before a holiday movie in a small town theater. Kids back then might have missed the emotional depth, but adults today notice the themes of kindness, loneliness, and connection. The animation isn't flashy, it's simple and heartfelt. It feels like a time capsule from a quieter era of holiday storytelling. But after this warm little tale, the next cartoon goes right back to the weird, wonderful world of Santa's music-filled shanty again. The Snowman Postman, 1955.
I hope so, because no one's gonna come without a tree.
No sweat. I wrote Santa a letter.
This British holiday short follows a little snowman acting as a postman, delivering Christmas letters across a snowy village. The animation has that old handmade charm, stiff movements, warm colors, and a story that feels like flipping through vintage greeting cards. Kids love the gentle pace. Adults notice how unusual it is. A snowman doing postal work, tiny houses glowing in the night, and a mood that's calm but slightly eerie. And now that we've replaced the duplicate, the next cartoon brings classic holiday chaos, starring a dog who just wants one quiet Christmas. Hector's Hectic Life, 1948. This forgotten Christmas short stars Hector the dog, who's just trying to keep his home in order when Santa drops off a surprise. 3 hyperactive puppies. What follows is pure holiday chaos. The puppies tear the house apart, break everything in sight, and turn Hector's peaceful Christmas Eve into a disaster zone. Kids love the slapstick mayhem, but adults today see something different. Poor Hector spends the entire cartoon trying not to get thrown out by his owner. The animation is lively, the pacing frantic, and the humor surprisingly sharp for the time. It's one of those cartoons where you laugh, but you also feel genuinely sorry for the dog. And if you think Hector had a rough Christmas, the next holiday character shines bright, literally, and in one version, doesn't even speak. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, 1948.
All through the hills the reindeer were playing, enjoying the spills of skating.
This early version of Rudolph came long before the iconic Rankin Bass special, and most people have never seen it. Rudolph doesn't talk, Santa looks completely different, and the animation is simple but charming. The story moves fast. A shy young reindeer teased for his bright nose only to save the day when fog rolls in on Christmas Eve. Kids in the 40s loved the music and gentle narration, but adults today notice how quiet and understated it feels. No misfit toys, no Yukon Cornelius, no abominable snow monster, just a straightforward, sweet little story with a surprisingly warm heart. But after this cozy version, the next holiday short jumps right back into wild winter slapstick. Snow Foolin', 1949. This winter-themed cartoon isn't technically Christmas, but it played during holiday TV blocks for decades. Animals ice skate, birds deliver the news, and a groundhog predicts winter using a tiny microphone. It's cheerful, silly, and filled with that rubbery 1940s animation style. Kids adored the bouncing music and goofy animal jokes. Adults rewatching it today notice something odd. The entire cartoon is essentially a string of unrelated gags stitched together, ending abruptly with a cold weather punchline. It feels like a holiday fever dream. Charming, but chaotic. And if you think this short is random, the next one brings holiday lessons, candlelight, and a surprisingly serious message. The Candlemaker, 1957. Unlike the wild slapstick of other holiday cartoons, The Candlemaker takes a slow, thoughtful approach. A boy learns responsibility when he's asked to make the Christmas church candle and ends up nearly ruining it through carelessness. The story is simple, but the moral is strong, and the atmosphere feels like an old-school Sunday school film. Kids at the time may have found it quiet, but adults watching today appreciate the heartfelt simplicity. soft music, warm lighting, and a message about pride in one's work. It's a gentle reminder of how different holiday animation used to be, less glitter, more meaning. And after this calm and careful story, the next cartoon brings us back to pure, whimsical fantasy. Ginger Nut's Christmas Circus, 1949.
Ticket, please.
Now, here's a Christmas oddity. Almost no one in America remembers Ginger Nut's Christmas Circus, a British animated short where woodland animals put on a full circus performance for the holidays. The lead character, Ginger Nut the squirrel, tries to keep the show running while every performer seems determined to cause chaos. You get tightrope walking mice, juggling rabbits, and a ringmaster who looks more confused than confident. Kids love the energy, but adults today notice how strange it truly is. The pacing jumps wildly, some characters appear for one gag and never return, and the circus acts have almost nothing to do with Christmas. Yet the charm is undeniable. It's a quirky mix of holiday cheer and slapstick circus mayhem. And just when you think you've seen it all, our final forgotten Christmas cartoon takes us out west with a story far sweeter than the title suggests. The Little Christmas Burrow, 1978.
Keep themselves alive. There was no room anywhere.
This sweet, underrated Rankin Bass style special follows a small, clumsy little burro who's trying his best to find a home and a purpose during the Christmas season. The tone is gentle, warm, and surprisingly emotional. The burro keeps getting rejected or overlooked, but he never gives up. Eventually, his kindness leads him to help someone in real need, and he finally finds where he belongs. Kids in the late 70s loved the soft animation, the desert setting, and the comforting music. Adults today notice the deeper message. Sometimes the smallest, simplest characters carry the biggest heart. It's a quiet little holiday story, almost no one talks about anymore, but it leaves you with that warm, peaceful feeling Christmas specials used to give. Donald Duck, Toy Tinkers, 1949.
Thank you.
At first glance, Toy Tinkers looks like a simple Donald Duck holiday short. Snow outside, cozy decorations inside, and Chippendale sneaking in for nuts. But watch closely, and it becomes one of the wildest Christmas battles ever animated. The chipmunks raid Donald's house, Donald dresses up as Santa for revenge, and within minutes, the living room turns into a full toy weapon war zone. Kids laugh at the tiny cannons, popping corks, and high-speed chases. Adults today see something else. It is basically a slapstick war film staged under the Christmas tree, complete with trickery, explosions, and zero real peace on Earth. The colors are dazzling, the pacing relentless, and nobody really learns a lesson. And if you think Donald's Christmas chaos is intense, the next short brings the same level of destruction with a cat and mouse who cannot even call a truce on Christmas Eve. Tom and Jerry, The Night Before Christmas, 1941. This one pretends to be a cozy Christmas Eve story, right up until Tom wakes up. Jerry is happily exploring the presents, licking candy canes and bouncing on toys, when the usual chase erupts in the middle of the decorated living room. Toys fire, lights spark, and the tree becomes a battleground. Kids love the gags and the glowing ornaments. Adults notice the emotional twist. When Jerry gets locked outside in the snow and starts freezing, Tom actually feels guilty. For a moment, the slapstick stops, and the cartoon becomes strangely tender as Tom rescues Jerry and warms him by the fire. It is still loud and chaotic, but it quietly sneaks in the idea that even sworn enemies might feel Christmas compassion. The Snowman, 1982. The Snowman looks simple. A boy builds a snowman, it comes to life, and they share one magical night of adventure. No spoken dialogue, just music and images. Kids get swept up in the flight through the sky, the snowman party, and that soaring song about walking in the air. Adults see the quiet details, the loneliness in the boy's house, the way the night feels too perfect, and the brutal honesty of the ending when morning comes. The whole film feels like remembering a childhood dream you can never fully get back, beautiful, gentle, and slightly devastating. It is Christmas without Santa, presents, or bright jokes, just wonder and loss wrapped together in snow. And if you think that kind of quiet sadness is unusual, the next special looks like a simple mid-90s cartoon until you notice how strangely empty its world feels. White Christmas.
What are you two doing?
We're writing to Santa Claus, Pop.
Telling him what gifts we want.
This animated White Christmas is one of those specials almost no one can quite place they remember the title, but not the details. Two children, Dorothy and her brother, end up in a wintry adventure that mixes standard Christmas imagery with an odd, slightly distant tone. The designs scream mid-1990s television. Soft colors, smooth but limited animation, and songs that feel just a bit too earnest. Kids saw a simple holiday quest. Adults rewatching it now notice the empty backgrounds, the strangely quiet streets, and a story that seems to hover between heartfelt and oddly flat. It feels like a Christmas card stretched into a cartoon, pretty to look at, but with a faintly uncanny mood that keeps it from becoming a true classic. And unlike most famous holiday tunes, this one drifts through the season like a ghost broadcast, half remembered and rarely revisited.
The robe.